Hey gang, it's me, Miss Letterber, and today we're going to do something a little different. We're actually going to not talk necessarily about a particular history topic, but we're going to talk about propaganda. And propaganda is used so widely and with so many different things, things that affect you in your everyday life, like all the time. So we really need to go through propaganda. And so, what I would like you to start with is go ahead and open your notebook. I know that we've been talking specifically about the Crusades. So, what I would like you to do is actually add a new page to your notebook that's going to be titled propaganda. So if we open up our notebooks here, you can see we've been talking about the Crusades, we've added our information, and I would like you to go ahead and add a new slide and title it propaganda. Now, I've already written down my notes because I wanted to make sure that I knew what I was talking about when I was talking to you, but we're going to go ahead and go through the lesson on propaganda, and I'm actually going to ask you to fill in your notebook as we go. Okay, so get your new page up and running. If you're not ready for that yet, if your Chromebook is being slow or it's not loading as quickly, go ahead and pause this video till you get yourselves ready, and then you can restart it again when you're prepared. Okay, so let's start with this. What is propaganda? Start with the beginning, kind of the basics of what propaganda is with a definition. So go ahead and write this definition into your notebook. Propaganda is information and ideas deliberately spread to help or harm a person, group, movement, or nation. So, what does that really mean to you? Well, propaganda is me telling you stuff so that you will do it. Okay? So, kind of like the basics of what propaganda is, it's used to get you to do something. So, um, I guess the best example would be politicians. Politicians are obviously the first line of defense when it comes to explaining propaganda. What they say, the information ideas that they deliberately spread, is to get you to do something, whether that's vote for them or vote against them or vote against someone else. It's the idea that you're going to do something based on the information that they share with you. Okay? So, more or less, who uses propaganda? Everybody uses propaganda. I do, your parents do, the politicians do, famous people use propaganda, your friends use propaganda, everybody uses propaganda. It's the idea that I am going to give you information that I want you to have so that you will do what I want you to do. Simple as that. And we use it constantly. And some people are really good at it, and you don't even know that they're using propaganda against you. So we have to be aware of what the types of propaganda are and how people are using them so that we can be informed decision makers. Rather than using our emotions to make decisions, we need facts. And this is where propaganda kind of clouds the facts a lot. Can propaganda be positive? Yes, it can. I can get you to do good things. I can use propaganda to get you to eat your vegetables. But I can also use propaganda to get you to do things that are negative, things that are not so good. Like I can get you to be a smoker, or I might get you to be a gambler based on propaganda that is not good for me. So you have to be very careful about what propaganda is out there and how it's influencing you. And there isn't a place that we can turn that doesn't have propaganda of some sort. Um, My best example is when Mr. Herman and I were little kids. When we went to the store to buy clothes, there were not advertisements on clothes. In fact, clothes only came in colors or a pattern, but there weren't ads. There weren't big words on clothes. We didn't have t shirts that said a million and one different things. They were just colors. And over time, people, advertisers, have realized that they can use you as a walking billboard. So now, literally, everything that you wear has a label or a mark or something on it that is propaganda trying to get someone else to buy what you have. Okay? It's everywhere. So you have to be super careful. We're going to go over 5 different styles of propaganda. These are probably the most commonly used styles of propaganda. And what I want to do is this: I want to write down the 5 styles of propaganda. Then, as we go through, I'm going to show you examples of the ways that people use that style or type of propaganda. And you're going to write your own definition into your notebook about each one. This way, you'll be able to understand what it is that you wrote rather than writing down just a general definition. And I would like you to give an example of of that style of propaganda that's familiar to you. Okay? So let's get all 5 of them written down. The first one is bandwagon, followed by emotional appeal, testimonial, repetition, and last but not least, sweeping generalization. So go ahead, and if you have to pause the video, go ahead and do that. But write down those 5 different styles of propaganda. And we're going to actually go through some ads that detail these different styles of propaganda and will help you understand more about what is each style. Okay, so let's start with the first one. I'm going to kind of get rid of me so you can see them. Okay, so the first one, these are 2 print ads from the 1940s. And these are both print ads trying to get you to engage in World War II. Okay. This is a woman that they have labeled Rosie the Riveter. She was a very popular figure during World War II because we needed women to work outside the home to enable the United States to keep running while lots of men were overseas fighting. Her desire was to get you on board. We can do it all together. Okay? This is a print ad from Great Britain that's asking everybody to participate in the battle. So all of these men are behind him. They are ready to participate. This character right here is asking you to participate too. Okay, so these are some print ads. Let me show you an actual television ad. Like to buy the world a home and furnish it with love. Grow up on dreams and money things and joy and rebel love. I'd like to teach the world to sing, sing with me. And keep it company. The world and to buy the world to go and keep it company. Okay, so the first type of propaganda is bandwagon. This refers to everybody's doing it, so should you. Everybody in the whole world is getting together and drinking Coke. You should get together and drink Coke too because it's the real thing. So, the first style of propaganda is bandwagon. The definition is everybody's doing it, so should you. Now, go ahead and think of an example that you might know of in a current advertising campaign that would be an example of bandwagon and include that in your notes. Okay? Okay. Let's go on to our next version or our next type of propaganda. See this little puppy? Sad little puppy. See this kennel behind him. The puppy is asking, "What did I do wrong?" How about this ad?
Also a cigarette. Which is the ugliest act? Okay, I'm going to go with Whoa. I wouldn't even want to pick up a cigarette after that.
Okay, so we got a question. Our next form of propaganda is emotional appeal. Emotional appeal works really, really well because it appeals to all of your senses. It's about emotions. Now, the thing about emotional appeal is that it doesn't last for very long. So, for example, that really sad ad that you see at Christmas time, specifically, maybe about animals that are in animal shelters, or maybe you've seen ads about children starving in other countries, that definitely tugs on our heartstrings, and we want to do something. But it's almost as soon as that ad is out of our mind, we stop wanting to do it. So, emotional appeal tugs on our heartstrings. It wants us to do something. It may even cause a tear to trickle down our face, but it only lasts for a short amount of time. So, go ahead and add information to your notebook about emotional appeal. Then, see if you can think of a current ad that you know of that uses emotional appeal. Okay, going on to our third form of propaganda. Oops, stop. Slumber. Okay, the Biebs, Justin Bieber. Now, granted, this ad is very old, however, still relevant. So we have this famous person, and he's telling us that we can do things better if we actually belong to PETA and we support our local animal shelters. This, don't even get me started. This man wants you to buy Sprite. We know. How about this ad?
Hey, Teddy, I hate to bother you. You sent my melon to Peyton, P-E-Y.
Groceries, $41.
That's awesome, man.
Oil change, $25.
Good too. Decaf!
Lunch,
Decaf!
$12.
Great shift today, guys. Nice salad bar.
Your favorite players,
Yes.
priceless.
Yes. Yes.
There are some things money can't buy. For everything else, there's MasterCard.
You signed the bread to my little brother. He loves you.
Okay, so what is this style of propaganda? Obviously, we're going in order, so this is testimonial. Testimonial is when a famous person or someone who is valuable to you encourages you to do or buy something. In this case, we see Peyton Manning trying to get you to belong to MasterCard. Peyton Manning seems to be everywhere, but it's someone who you love and respect who's trying to get you to do something. Now, testimonial is usually about famous people, and I'm going to tell you that testimonial is effective only as long as you respect the famous person or celebrity. The minute that you stop respecting them or valuing them, their stock drops and they become not valuable anymore. You have to like the person who is giving you the testimonial in order for you to buy into this form of propaganda. So go ahead and write down your definition for testimonial and then your current ad or idea of what a good testimonial would be for you. Okay? Don't forget, you can always pause the video if you need to get caught up. Our fourth style of propaganda is the following.
Hey, Teddy, I hate to bother you.
Okay. Now, this ad is also dated, but it's a really good example of our next style of propaganda, which is repetition. The same thing over and over and over and over and over again so that you get the message. This was an iPod Shuffle. Everybody wanted one, and this is why, because of the repetition of the same thing over and over again. Now, the next form of television ad is something that's a little bit older, but it is so powerful when it comes to repetition. See what you think.
Head on, apply directly to the forehead. Head on, apply directly to the forehead. Head on, apply directly to the forehead. Head on, available at Walgreens. Head on, apply directly to the forehead. Head on, apply directly to the forehead. Head on, apply directly to the forehead. Head on, available at Walgreens. New, from the makers of Head On, introducing Activon. Arthritis pain? Activon. Apply directly where it hurts. Activon Arthritis, available at Walgreens.
Okay, I'm going to tell you that this form of propaganda was super popular. Seriously, they would say head on so many times that you had to listen to them. It was annoying, but did we all know what head on was? You betcha. Repetition is saying the same thing over and over again so that it gets lodged in your memory. A lot of you can even sing a lot of the ads that you hear on TV or in YouTube or whatever because you've heard them so many times. They're effective because it happens again and again and again. Repetition. Make sure you come up with your own version of repetition that you are familiar with. Okay? Last but not least, and probably the one that's the most controversial, would be sweeping generalization. Oh, goodness gracious. This lady is going to get the best of me. Sweeping generalization. Okay. Now, here's the deal about sweeping generalization it's stereotyping. Flat out, no holds barred stereotyping. Everybody in that category or group is doing it together. This would be a great example. America's favorite cereal. As soon as somebody writes America's favorite, that tells you that this is all about sweeping generalization. Everybody of that type or category is doing it. And this is where we get into stereotyping. This next ad is probably the most disgusting version of stereotyping, but it was something very, very common in early days of television. So let's go ahead and watch it.
Back to present ancient Chinese pantomime just for fun of it, Jello tonight. Back to present small Chinese type baby waiting for dessert. Chinese mother bling baby, Jello, famous Western delicacy. Oh, Chinese baby. He unable to tell if this Jello is strawberry, raspberry, cherry, orange, lemon, lime, apple, black raspberry, black cherry, or grape. Jello come in all 10 flavors. Poor Chinese baby. But Chinese mother bling baby, great Western invention. Spoon. Spoon was invented for eating Jello. Baby find this is great Jello. Deep, dark, delicious new flavor. Chinese baby very happy. So end ancient Chinese pantomime. Is pretty good commercial, no?
Okay, I know it's horrible. However, it's a really good example and it's something not so recent so that it doesn't get too ouchy. However, the fact that we have just destroyed ancient Chinese culture by creating this Jello commercial is a great example of sweeping generalization. Go ahead and write down stereotyping for sure in your definition and make sure that you come up with your own example of sweeping generalization. These 5 styles of propaganda are super important as we look at even our current lives and our current situation. All of these are ways in which we get people to do things in our lives. You are subject to propaganda all the time. You need to spend time finding out facts rather than just listening to propaganda. But for our intents and purposes, you need to at least be able to identify these 5 styles of propaganda. If you have any questions, make sure you email us. We'll get back to you right away. Thank you, and we'll talk again later.